Hello, welcome to episode 78 of the Yarnivore podcast. I am Sadie, I'm your hostess with the mostest, and today I have a fair amount of FOs. I'm wearing one, kind of excited to show you. So first, let's get this out of the way. I am wearing the Pomme de Pin, freshly blocked. And I did, the arms are a little long, but I'm fine with that because I like to have long arms. It is out of the Silky Victoria by Blue Moon Fiber Arts. Cranberry Bogged colorway, 85 Polworth, 15% silk. I had 2 skeins of this, and at the very end, this is what was left. So all in all, really good usage of my amounts. So pretty pumped about that. It's very comfy. It's warm. Right now I wish it were a little warmer just because I'm a little chilly, but so be it. This room is chilly because we don't heat it unless we're in it. And yeah. Maybe that's a little too close. There we go, that's a bit better. These are just some buttons I had in my button box. It only took 4, so not a big deal. It took forever to dry because, of course, it's cold and wet in the Pacific Northwest. But that's okay, because I had a husband to keep me company, and yeah, he's home now, so yay. He's been home for a week, which is why podcasting didn't really happen for a bit there. Another thing I finished was I wrote it down, it's the Fisherman Neck Gansey Flamborough Cliffs by Jen Joyce Designs. And it looks something like this. It's a Christmas gift for the hubs. This is the Va colorway. I used Malabrigo Arroyo. I don't remember if that's a sport or a DK, I'm sorry. I used a 4mm or a 3.5. I used whatever was called for in the pattern. I actually, looking back, it was a 3.5. And so yeah, it is simple. It's just, I just wanted it to keep him warm when he's walking to and from the car at work. So, you know, nice and warm, but not like choky. That is a word. That is too a word. So, finished that, which made me feel pretty pumped. Just wing it over there, shall I? Fix the hair. And then I finished the Hermione Everyday Socks. I forget who this is by. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. Everyone and their sibling is doing it. And here it is. Here's my finished pair. Works great with the semi-solid tonal. It's very soft, it's very cushy. Of course I made these for someone. This is out of the Diamond Luxury Tradition sock, 100 grams, 400 meters, 437 yards. It's 42% wool, 51% acrylic, and 7% nylon. Machine wash, lay flat to dry, made in Peru. And I wanted to make something that had a little bit of longevity, so I don't mind the acrylic being in there. Especially since the nylon content is so low, but it came out beautifully. And yeah, these are going to go off to their recipient now with a little bit of darning yarn. And that's what I had left over, which is a fair bit. So EA team on that. So those are the 3 things I got done, and I didn't, I got a sweater done, so I felt pretty pumped about that. Because hey, it's a sweater. The cowl was good, that was super easy. The socks were nice, I got those done, and now I've started the Desert Vista Dye Works socks. So moving onward, things I am currently working on. I guess I can put this away now because that's where I had the patterns written down, and I've used the names, and now I'm good. Got too much stuff on my desk, as always. Okay, so jumping into the first thing I've mentioned in my Fat Squirrel Fibers bag, I started my Desert Vista Dyework socks for the month of December and decided that I'll probably do next year if she's doing it again. I don't know if she's doing it again, I haven't looked. But if she is, I will do it, because I have a fair amount still. I have 5 skeins of self-striping, and then I have one gradient, and I think I have one that's either variegated or not. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if it's a variegated or a gradient, but either way, and I have some coming, because that's who I am. So I picked War of the Worlds, which is like an 8 stripe. It's on the Viso base, which is the 7525 Superwash Merino nylon. And I'm using US 1 2.25 millimeter needles and a magic looping. This is the pinstripe pattern. It is a freebie on Ravelry. I've used it so many times now I didn't even consult the pattern because it's slip 1, knit 7, slip 1 all the way around, and then knit 1 all the way around. It's a free pattern, I can tell you that. Here's how far we've gotten, and it's very pretty. And the only thing that kind of trips me up is that this stripe here is very close to this stripe here, so it depends on what lighting you're looking at it in. But either way, I like it. And I like the vibrancy of this because it kind of looks like a sunrise or a nuclear atomic holocaust. So many choices, really. And so that's the first sock. I need to make more socks. I really do. Not for me though, but like I have a lot for me, but I need to make more for other people is what I need to do. I've been kind of selfish on my socks because I had a bunch bite the dust, and you know, after that happens you get a little selfish. And my self-striping yarns, of course, I want to do those mostly for me or my mom or my husband, and so you just do what you do, right? So those are going down, which I'm really enjoying. I will tell you, the hooded shawl cardigan that I have been waffling on for a while, I gave up the ghost and I frogged it. And I know many people were like, oh, that's awesome, I know that fits nice. And I looked at it and I pulled it out and I started knitting on it, and I was just like, I'm not feeling it at all. And I was like, I still have a good, like, this is fingering weight. This is going to take some time. And so, no. It got frogged. I want it to be something else. I want it to be prettier. And I might knit the pattern again, like it wasn't the pattern that I had a problem with, although I know people had problems with the armpits and the shoulders, which I will accommodate for when I knit it again, but just wasn't feeling the vibe. So I frogged that, and I feel much better about it because that means I have 2 less sweaters on the needles. So technically I only have 3 going. And the Adrift is out of lace weight, so let's face it, that's going to take another 10 years to finish. Right? Like, I mean, let's just give up the ghost. That's probably not getting worked on again until summer, even if that, because it's lace weight and I'm crazy. Then I've got the winter wheat cardigan, which I have actually gotten past the armhole, so I'm at an easier portion. I just need to get back into that again. Fingering weight. I think I need to knit some sweaters that are not at fingering weight. The sweater I have been working on, where's the picture here? Where's the best picture? This is probably the best one, is the Marco Polo by Ella Torrante, which I've been knitting on for a while. It looks like this. It's adorable. The Knitting Expat did one. Sue from Two Tangled Skeins knit one. I'm sure other people have knit them. But I'm really into stripes right now. Just all the stripes. Like, seriously, I may use the green from the Hooded Stripes cardigan and start something by, what's her face? What do I have here? Yeah, I've got Confetti printed out by Vera Valimaki, and I've also got, it's the giant stack of things, and Breathing Space also printed out. So maybe one of these, because I need to knit all the stripes right now. I'm into stripes and knitting stripes, and that's what I need in my life. But that was a side tangent to say I want to start one of those really soon, and I've got the Sunset Highway. But my thing is, I want to spend December finishing things, because I started like 2 things, and I'm like, okay, I need to finish things. I got this off the needles, which is great. I got the socks off the needles. I started another pair of socks. So this sweater is probably next up on the docket. This is in my Fat Squirrel Fibers bag, huge bag. It's I think this is a sweater. Is this a sweater or the big one? It's not the Aran sweater. But whatever. So the Marco Polo is done on a US 4 or a US 6, which is a 4 millimeter. Yeah, 6 is 4, 4.5 is 7. So it's a US 6 or 4 millimeter needle. And I have separated for the arms already, which is awesome. Here's where we're at. So at a certain point you start increasing for the hemline, and that is where I have just started doing that. I love the colors are pretty true right here. When I hold it right here, I'm loving it. So I am using Soft Like Kittens Burnished Sport in the Musket colorway, which is gorgeous and amazing, and I've been saving for a special project. And then for the gray, I am using the Siren Sport by Knitter's Nightmare in the Grey Havens colorway, which is a tonal gray that it is just beautiful. And I saved some for myself because I knew I wanted to do this, so there you have it. And again, stripes. I'm into stripes, and I'm into purple and gray. Just don't ask me why. It's just what's going on. It was red before, which is why I have this red cardigan. And I have the red breathing space, and yeah, I like red, but I also like purple. Let's state some other things that are just completely blatant, shall we? Alrighty. And the last thing, which is a new cast on, came out of, I'm really into Elizabeth Zimmerman right now. When I started knitting again back in the like 2000s, when Knitty was just getting up and running, when the Yarn Harlot was all we had, and we had message boards and Yahoo groups, etc., and Ravelry was a thing that we hadn't heard of yet, Elizabeth Zimmerman was really bandied about a lot. Kat Voorhee and Elizabeth Zimmerman. And Elizabeth Zimmerman is like the OG of the knitting world. If you haven't heard of her, did you never read The Yarn Harlot? Who is obsessed with her? A lot of my friends were obsessed with her. And so we got all the Elizabeth Zimmermans that you could, because it's not necessarily patterns, it's more like recipes. Meg Swanson, of course, being her daughter, who has tons of cabled patterns for sweaters out there. In Knitting Around, this one, there is a pattern, and it's going to be hard to show. Do they have a picture? The thing is, the pictures aren't that amazing, which I'm fine with. I don't need amazing pictures. But it does make it harder to show you what the heck's going on here without showing off the pattern. So the Mobius cowl I made came out of here, and there's a couple other patterns I want to make out of here that require you to do like math. I know math. So, okay, just bear with me, and if I accidentally show you some pattern, I accidentally show you some pattern. But these mittens right here are knit on 2 needles, and then you fold them and they do something funky. So I was like, I have a friend from Saskatchewan who has made them, and I thought they were super cool, and now I wanted to make some. And the other thing was, I have hand spun and I don't know what to do with it, because some of them, I was in the Spunky Club and I loved the Spunky Club, but so it was different yarns. So I had this one, it was called Geisha, I forget which month it is, and I spun it. It's probably a sport to a DK in some spots, and it's, I believe, Cheviot sheep's wool. It's a coarser wool. It's definitely an outer wool, and it's a gorgeous colorway. I show you now. It's just gorgeous. I loved spinning it. I had so much fun, but I was like, there's no way I could put this on my ears. It's too scratchy for a hat. What can I do with it? Well, as a mitt, it will work perfectly. So, see, sometimes what you need to make just comes to you. So I decided to take the scratchier yarn and start, and here's where I'm at. I actually had it almost, I had almost the full hand done, except that I realized that I screwed up the recipe, and at one point you're supposed to do one thing on each side, one thing on one side every time, and I did it on both sides, and subsequently I would have had to be a flipper baby. So that didn't really work. And yeah, so here's my progress. I'm not doing it on a straight, it says on 2 needles because you can use 2 straight needles to do it, and it turns out cool. I'm just using a circular. This is a 3mm needle, which is what I needed to get gauge. The other cool thing is, I know that as I use this, the colors are going to change and it's going to look really cool stripy. I'm really excited to see how it does. If you've knit a baby surprise jacket or the February later sweater or baby sweater, those are Elizabeth Zimmerman patterns, as is the Tomton jacket and the adult Tomton that Jared Flood, was it Jared Flood redid it? Anywho, this is similar to the baby surprise, and that is going to look like some weird distorted manta ray until it's all done and I crush it together and it forms the perfect mitten. Either way, excitement, back in the game with that. So those are the things I'm currently knitting on, and I'm looking at my whip pile and thinking I need to get a couple of those multicolored shawls done. I feel no allure to them right now, where you have like 6 or so, and I've got the mystery cowl wrap stole thing I have to finish, and I've only got one side started, and I'll get it done. It's just bugging me. I don't know if I care about it enough. See, that's the problem with the mystery things. They bug me, and then I don't finish them. And then I've got the Westnitz Building Blocks cowl, which was like 3 years ago now, and I still haven't finished it. And I don't mind it, it's just I don't care anymore. And that's the downfall of things that are new and flashy, is that I will fall out of love with them, and I just want good solid pieces, because I don't know if I'm going to wear the building blocks, because it could be too oomphy for me right now. And so before I go, the last thing, I got my minis from Desert Vista Dye Works for my Instagram posts, which is awesome. I'm very excited. These are probably going to go into my mitered square blanket, which now that it's getting friggin' cold can come out of hibernation, and I can look up how I did them again and continue to do that. And prior to me leaving Canada, Mom gave me more face cloths that she crocheted, which is awesome because, well, they're also dishcloths, face cloths, dishcloths, whatever. I use them as dishcloths primarily, and I love them, and at least 2 of ours bit the dust because they sprung holes, so yay. I could make them, but I don't know, Mom's are always better. And that's everything I have for you this week in terms of knitting. I hope you've had a great knitting week. The pupper didn't come to get shown off. We did get a pupper. Her name is Sassy, and she is a Dachshund cross. If you're on Instagram, you've probably seen her, and you will probably see many pictures of her to come. Right now, Kachansky is adjusting. She is only hissing half the time, so that's awesome. And basically, we're just getting them adjusted to each other, which is why if Kachansky wanted to come in here, she would have had the right of way. Anywho, I will see you guys in another couple of weeks. Hopefully I have more to show for myself. I'm really excited that I'm wearing the sweater. You have no idea. Like, took how many years? So, bye.